A couple days ago, I picked up a monitor stand off a local Craigslist posting. Why I got it is because it is, I think it's like 59 or 60 inches tall if you count. I think that's to the top of those brackets for the monitor bracket. So, putting a nice, probably a 40-inch screen. I'm looking at maybe getting a 40-inch plasma off Craigslist. They tend to be inexpensive. Maybe an LCD, I'm not sure yet. It will go on there. Over there in the corner you can kind of see a black bezel. That's the original bezel with the light gun sensors in it for a CRT monitor. So I can take that apart and modify the sensors and make a new, maybe out of MDF bezel that goes around whatever television I get there. The stand is practically completely metal. The base is steel. Feels like steel or aluminum. Not sure why that just zoomed in. But it's got two glass shelves that are adjustable, and then the base, and then what the monitor mounts to is adjustable, height adjustable. So right now, just for testing, I put the audio amp, the power supply, and the Naomi just kind of on the glass shelves. I'm not going to plug it in for this video because there's nothing really to show until I get a monitor mounted. As I said in my last video, I believe the guns work, the light sensors work. I took the pinball machine that was here out and put it in the garage for the time being while I work on this, because there just wasn't enough room, no matter how I rearranged my small game room here, to fit this thing in, just due to the size of the monitor stand and the size monitor that I want. The closest I could get would be to move this Blast City over towards the door, but that's our pantry that goes with the garage and the washer and dryer, so I don't really want to block that. And if I did do it as far over as possible, you'd be shooting the guns kind of like this, because the monitor would extend behind the corner of the Blast City. So it just made more sense just to get that pinball project that was 99% complete, but I hadn't worked on it for a little while. Just get that out of the way and concentrate on this gun game. Then once the gun game's up and running, then we'll see if maybe I can reorganize the room to fit the pinball machine in, but I don't think I will. This will be here until I get bored of it and sell it on or trade it for something else, and then the pinball machine can come back. So that's the latest. This stand originally, I think they went for around $300 to $400. I got it for $40 off Craigslist. Not bad. It's in great shape. It weighs 78 pounds, just the stand, so it's not going to fall over, that's for sure. And it's going to keep the profile smaller than the original 39-inch CRT cabinet that was about 7 foot tall. I'll have to play with the height of the monitor once I get it on there and turn it on. I mean, I can pick up the guns and kind of guesstimate based on the center of that mount where the TV is. The main thing is I don't really think it's a good idea to have to aim up for the top. It's easier to aim a little bit downwards than to try and lift the guns up higher, just due to the fact that they're on a hose, and the hose only goes so far up, and it's not comfortable to hold this thing way up in the air. So I'm thinking that where I've got it now is a pretty good height, but until I actually get a monitor in there, I won't be able to tell for sure. And then that leaves the question of how I'm going to mount the hardware. I still haven't figured that out. Like I said, it's just temporary right now. It's just kind of on the top of the two glass shelves is where this Naomi is. There's nothing on the middle glass shelf, and the bottom has power and sound amp. And looking at it, I could make a wooden box that fits on that base plate, and there's obviously enough room for the power supply and the sound amp. Maybe for the Naomi as well, if I take that center glass shelf and move it up or just out. So maybe if I just make a kind of a triangular box that comes off of the Carnevil setup and is high enough, or actually I could just lift up the leg levelers on the Carnevil platform so it comes just higher than the metal base of this monitor stand, and then just build out a box that goes just a couple feet big enough to house everything, and it'll overhang or rest on the monitor stand and be detachable. So it would be like a three-piece deal where you'd have the platform, the wooden part that overhangs the monitor base, and then the monitor stand itself. And I guess the TV, if you want to count that as another piece. That centerpiece there does come off and tilts, has like a forward and back tilt of a few degrees. So I've got it right now. I took out the screws that were holding it there, so all I have to do is lift that bracket, and the bracket comes off, and then you can attach that to your TV, and then with two people, I'm assuming, unless be a little bit awkward with one, but one or two people lift up the monitor with that bracket attached, and then it slides onto to another piece that's on the back of that post that you can't see, and then screws in place so it doesn't move. So a pretty cool setup, and cheaper than Amazon. Amazon has some around $80 and up that are the same idea. They're not silver, they're black, and they tend to have like two cylindrical posts coming up that the monitor piece attaches to, and then they have legs on the bottom. That was the one thing about this stand that wasn't quite what I was hoping for, is the stand is completely made out of metal. So I was hoping that maybe if it was wood placed over some metal feet, that I could maybe notch it, and then I could move this Carnevil pedestal even closer to the monitor stand. But I think the distance is going to be fine. That was just, again, without getting a monitor on there, I'm not going to know how I feel about the distance between the pedestal and the monitor stand, if it's okay or not. So yeah, quick update, not turning anything on. Technically, I guess it would work if I mounted, I've got I think it's like a 22-inch wide PC monitor that in my previous video, if I mounted that on there and then just kind of jury-rigged the monitor bezel just as it is, tried to get that whole thing over the top of it, even though the sizes just don't match up. The sensors might work well enough that I could do a test to make sure the guns work and the sensors are all working and everything, but I think I'll wait until I get an actual monitor that I can hang on there. So that's the current update. It's coming together. Hopefully it's just a monitor and then some fiddling with the software to make sure everything's calibrated right, and figuring out what type of box to put the whole setup in. The fans are a little bit loud, so if I put them in a box with, a hole and fan so it's getting good airflow through, hopefully the fan that I can put in it will be a little bit less loud than the one that's on the power supply. There's a fan on the power supply, and then the Naomi has a fan on the CPU chip inside the case, and also a small fan on the side of the case that brings air in. So it's not terrible, but I would like to get it a little bit quieter if I could. So I guess that'll be about it until I get a monitor, or if I decide to try and make something work with the sensors, if it takes me a while to find a monitor and I get impatient. So stay tuned for future updates.